Hi, lovelies. This is a photo of me doing poetry. I was still in Washington for this one. This was in the coffee room. In the coffee room, I displayed a poetry called Stand Tall. And one of the reasons I don't like to do poetry, sometimes I don't go places to do poetry or in different places to do poetry because you have a lot of copycats. The minute I did this same poetry, Stand Tall, it was thousands of people there. It wasn't 1,000, 2,000. It was like over 5,000 people. And I had a standing ovation. On majority of my poetry I had a standing ovation, and I had encore. I had to redo my poetry a couple times where the people like it, because I did write some jokey ones as well and did the demonstration, so they was falling over laughing, and I had an encore for some of them. But in this particular one, it brings me to a little sad moment in a way, because there was a gentleman from the Turks and Caicos Island. And a lot of our families, if you do the history, are from Turks and Caicos Island. At one point in time, many moons ago, the Turks and Caicos Island was a part of the Bahamas. In fact, I personally did a lot of work for the courts for the Turks and Caicos government when my former boss, the late Honorable Roger Gomez, went to Turks and Caicos to be a sitting magistrate. They had to send all the work to Nassau because they didn't have no stenographer, and the people was claiming they couldn't understand his writing, which in they had, he had no secretary either. And so I had to every week do all the work and send it back on the plane every week. I had to do it in my house. I couldn't even do it to work. Yeah, I didn't get paid overtime. I didn't get paid for that. People don't know what you used to do. That's why I can say what I used to do. Hello, somebody. But this guy, why it brings a sad moment when I think about Turks and Caicos Island in a way, is because when I did this poetry, because I had such a outstanding standing ovation, and people were hollering like, they were so loving it. This dude tried to copy everything of my poet, and where I have stand tall, he put stand firm, and he tried to copy everything, and he came back the next day saying the same poet. Now you have the same audience because we are poetry internationalist poets from all over the world, honing their skills and showcasing their skill. He came back the next day, and he thought by saying the poem, he would have had a standing ovation the way I had a standing ovation. Nobody even clapped for this dude. Nobody clapped for him. Nobody stand for him. I watched the expression of people because I was shocked too. They left with their mouth open because everybody in the room realized he copied my poetry. That's what they realized. And what I love about that is when people see wrong, plagiarizing people work, that's a no-no. Plagiarizing people work is a no-no. Nobody clapped for him. He did feel like shit, and he realized his big boo-boo. And so guess what? He was not allowed to the duration of the days and stuff we had. He was never allowed to speak none of his poetry again. Because if he could copycat me in a forum like that and come right back the next day to speak it, they couldn't allow him to read none of his other poetry because most likely he did it with the other ones too. It was so embarrassing. He was so ashamed. I think he left that same day because they must call him in and let him know. They don't have that because they records everything too. They record everything. And that's why I say it was so sad, because Turks and Caicos to the Bahamas is like brothers and sisters. It was once a part of our nation, Turks and Caicos Island. And to come from the same part of the country. Not only that, we were in the midst of movie stars. Joan Collins, the man from the Beatles, the McCartney man from the Beatles. He had a group called Beatlemaniac, would look just like them when they were young, what he was in charge of. And they played just like the real Beatles. And they look and sing just like them. And we had all Farrah Fawcett. We had a lot of movie stars. I mean, movie stars who were there. Movie stars with name who had made movies on top of movies and had name for themselves. And let me tell you something, it was so embarrassing. Nobody clapped for him. Nobody stand for him. I don't know what in his mind could make him think he's going to receive the same standing ovation with something he copied. Those things are recorded. Those programs are recorded. It was embarrassing. And that's what makes it sad, because we from the same country, basically, neighbors, plenty Turks people live here. And not only that, we are black. Why do we try to do things to each other? We don't only do it at home. We do it when we are out too. And that's why when I think about this moment, it brings that to me, and that tinge of sadness. He put a damper on a little of my spirit, because I realize how important it is that when you could be good at something, people will copy you and try to bring it as if it's their own. And it's sad. It's very sad, because it shows you have no originality. You are not really an artist. Being a poet is an artist. It's an art form. That shows you have no true art form. You just only a copycat. Nobody wants a copycat. Nobody wants someone who plagiarizing people work around them. That is a no-no. That is a no-no. And you can be sued for things like that. And that's why when I look at this picture, it reminds me of that moment. And that put a little damper when I look at this particular picture. It was so embarrassing. He was so ashamed. You could see the embarrassment on his face too, because he realized he did a boo-boo. Nobody stand, nobody clap. People were shocked as hell, because they knew that they had a standing ovation for me the day prior for the exact same poem. He only changed it to put stand for a minute when I had stand tall, and he copied everything that I had on a poet. I said this dude had to record that to copy every word. So that's sad. Nobody loves that. He was not allowed, and I'm happy that they stood for something, that this body stood for something, because he was not allowed to present no more, and he was removed from participating and being a member. Hello, somebody. So good riddance. Next time, you should teach people, and that's why I'm saying it. You have to be original. When I did my YouTube channel, I didn't do it because I see other people do it. I see it as a outlet to seal my stories into one day I die. Hopefully it could be here. My family, my generations could see what I say, what I did during my time. Like I said, I'm going to be on this earth, and no one knew I wasn't here. Too much of y'all, no one know y'all wasn't here. One or two family members, or they don't even think with you after you're gone. Because you've never made your mark. You never put your mark on nothing to say, yes, I was here. Okay? You never did it. And so, to me, it's important, because too much of my own kin haven't left nothing behind to show their legacy. And it has to start somewhere, so it's going to start with me. Hello, somebody. That's the reason I do in my YouTube channel. I'm going to tell my stories, whether they're good or bad. Anything that is bothering me, I'm going to bring to the forefront. Yeah, I can use it as an outlet to hit back at others too when you don't treat me right. Because one thing about me, anyone who truly know me, I treat people right. But I don't like people who don't know how to treat people right. Okay? And I don't want to be thinking they can get away with bad treatment where I concerned. Because anyone know me, I have no shame in my game, and I used to put pen to paper. Instead of putting pen to paper, I shame you. Because everybody gonna know who I talking about. I ain't gotta call your name. Who the cap fit? Let them wear it, and everyone gonna know who I talking about. So that's the reason why I am telling my stories. And that's why I don't go to these poet cafe to talk about do poetry and stuff. No. Because I know I'm original. I know I'm original. I don't copycat people work. I don't even, if I'm gonna do poetry, I don't even read people poem. Make sure I don't have no influence from them. No kind. I don't even read your poem. I buy poetry book. People give me poetry book. I never read it because I was making my own poetry. It isn't being selfish because sometimes me personally feel I could be influenced by somebody else's work. I do not want to be influenced by somebody else's work. I want to bring it on my terms, my originality. Whether someone accept it or not, it don't matter to me as long as I did it my way. Hello, somebody. As long as I didn't use the influence of no one else, I did it my way. Hello, somebody. So that's what this picture reminds me of. All right. So that's me in the coffee room in the Washington Hilton in Washington D.C. doing poetry. Over and out.